If you've been grinding stars lately, you've probably felt it. Some games feel completely unwinnable, while others feel like free stars. And when you check the stats, it backs that feeling up. Recent data shows heroes pushing past 55% win rates, while others are dipping dangerously close to the low 40s. That's a massive gap. So, what's really happening here? Are heroes becoming overtuned? Or is the system itself creating bigger extremes between winners and losers? Welcome back to Mobile Legends News. Looking at the April 2026 meta, one thing is clear. This isn't just a one-patch spike. Across multiple updates, we're seeing consistent patterns of top-tier heroes dominating with high win rates, while lower-tier picks struggle to stay relevant. Tier lists and rank data both reflect a concentrated meta where only a handful of heroes truly shine, with some heroes reaching around 57% win rates in competitive environments. Now the question becomes, is this the new normal for Mobile Legends? Now let's break this down, because when you actually look at the numbers across roles, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Win rates in Mobile Legends aren't just a bit unbalanced right now, they're stretched. First, let's establish a baseline. In a healthy mobile ecosystem, most heroes should hover somewhere around the 50% mark. That's balance. Once you start seeing heroes consistently above 53%, they're already considered strong. And anything pushing beyond 55% or higher is clearly meta-defining. But what we're seeing in recent data goes beyond that. Take roamers as an example. Historically, roam was one of the most balanced roles because its impact depended heavily in team coordination. But now, we're seeing heroes like Lolita and Florin consistently pushing into the high 50% range in ranked environments. Lolita has been recorded around 55 to 58% win rate depending on the dataset, while Florin also sits comfortably above average, often exceeding 53%, and even reaching near 58% in certain snapshots. That's not just good, that's dominance. And it's not just roamers. Across multiple roles, the S tier is becoming increasingly concentrated. The April 2026 meta shows a clear pattern. Only a handful of heroes are truly considered viable at the highest levels, with picks like Florin rising due to global utility and consistency, while others fall off completely. This creates a top-heavy environment where the gap between meta and non-meta is wider than ever. Now compare that to struggling heroes. While exact numbers vary depending on rank bracket, it's not uncommon to see underperforming heroes dipping below 47%, and in extreme cases, even closer to the low 40s. That's a massive deviation from the ideal 50% balance point. And this is where the real issue starts to show. The distribution isn't tight anymore, it's stretched. So, what's causing this? Let's start with synergy power creep. Modern Mobile Legends is way more synergy driven than older metas. Heroes aren't just strong individually, they're designed to amplify each other. Florin is a perfect example. Her global healing ultimate and passive item mechanic allows her to influence fights anywhere on the map, meaning her value scales with team coordination. In coordinated environments or even decent duo queue teams, this kind of utility becomes overwhelming. That's part of why she's consistently ranked among top tier picks in current tier lists. Lolita is another case. Her ability to completely shut down projectile-based heroes creates hard counters that didn't used to be this impactful. When a single hero can invalidate entire classes like marksmen or certain mages, it naturally boosts their win rate because they swing matchups heavily in one direction. This brings us to the second factor. Hard counters matter more now. Older metas had counters, sure, but they were softer. You could still outplay them. In today's game, some matchups feel almost predetermined. If you draft into a bad composition, your chances of winning drop significantly before the game even starts. That's a huge contributor to win rate polarization. Third is that we have snowball-heavy gameplay. The current meta heavily rewards early leads. Once a team gains momentum, whether through early objectives, jungle control, or lane dominance, it's much harder to come back compared to older versions. This amplifies win rates for strong early game or tempo-based heroes. Think about it. If a hero is slightly stronger early and the game system rewards early advantages more than before, that hero's win rate doesn't just increase a little, it spikes. Meanwhile, late game or scaling heroes suffer because they rarely get the chance to reach their power spike. This widens the gap even further. Fourth is draft dependency, and this is a big one for ranked players. Because the meta is so concentrated, games are increasingly decided in the draft phase. If your team secures multiple S-tier picks while the enemy ends up with lower tier heroes, the statistical advantage is already there. Tier lists themselves highlight that only a small pool of heroes dominate the current environment, reinforcing the idea of a narrowed viable roster. But this wasn't always the case. In older metas, you could get away with comfort picks more often because the power difference between tiers wasn't as extreme. A B-tier hero could still compete. But now, picking outside the meta can feel like you're handicapping your team. And finally, we have the balance changes and hero design philosophies. Over time, newer heroes and reworks have introduced more complex kits, mobility, sustain, crowd control, and burst, all packed into a single character. This creates what many players call overloaded kits. When these heroes are even slightly overtuned, they dominate much harder than older, simpler heroes. You can see this reflected in both ranked and professional play. In competitive environments like MPL, win rates can spike even higher due to optimized play. Some heroes have reached absurd numbers, 60% and above in certain tournament contexts. While that's not directly the same as ranked, it shows how powerful certain heroes become when fully utilized. Now let's compare this to older metas. Back then, win rates were generally more compressed. You'd still have top tier heroes, but they'd sit maybe around 52 to 54%, not pushing towards 57 and 58 consistently. The difference between the best and worst heroes were smaller, which meant more variety in gameplay. You could experiment, adapt, and still win. Today, that margin has widened. The difference between a top tier hero and a bottom tier one can be 10% or more in win rate. That's huge. In statistical terms, that's the difference between a reliable climb hero and something that actively lowers your chances of winning. So when players say rank feels more extreme, they're not imagining it. The data supports that feeling. Higher highs, lower lows, and fewer heroes sitting comfortably in the middle. And here's the key takeaway. It's not just one thing causing this. It's a combination of factors stacking together. Stronger synergies, harder counters, snowball mechanics, draft dependency, and evolving hero design, all pushing the game towards a more polarized state. From a player's perspective, this changes how you should approach rank entirely. You can't just rely on mechanical skill anymore. You need to understand the meta, prioritize strong picks, and adapt your draft strategy. Because in this environment, the difference between winning and losing often starts before the match even begins. And that's what makes this conversation so important. Because if win rates really are becoming more extreme, then the way we play Mobile Legends has to evolve with it. At the end of the day, win rates do feel more extreme, but it's not just a simple case of broken balance. What we're seeing is a mix of factors coming together. Yes, certain heroes are clearly outperforming others, but it's also how the modern meta amplifies those strengths. Stronger synergies, faster snowballing, and heavier reliance on coordination all make good picks look even better, and weak picks feel even worse. Compared to older metas where things were much more flexible, today's environment rewards efficiency and optimization far more. So while the numbers look more dramatic, they also reflect how Mobile Legends itself has evolved. Now, I want to hear from you. Have your ranked games been feeling more one-sided lately? Are you noticing certain heroes that feel completely unfair? Or others that feel straight up unplayable? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about which picks are dominating your games right now. Till next time.